Well, I had to jinx it, didn't I? I had to jinx it by saying that rain might not come at the Ekana Stadium in Lucknow because it's been raining here in Delhi NCR. But unfortunately, yes, the rain has arrived at the Ekana Stadium and the covers are on. And RCB are 93 for 4 in 15.2 overs. Shocking lack of intent from RCB on a pitch that was aiding the spinners right from the first over itself. So with just 4.4 overs to go, the rain has come in. We already saw when Naveen Hulak was starting his over that the ground staff were near the covers and also some of the cameramen were wiping their cameras that yes, rain was in the air, and that's why now 93 for 4 and 15.2 overs. However, 1 hour from now, there will be no cutoff in overs. Only say, what is the time now? The current time is...
We're looking at 8:20, I believe.
8:55 is the time.
8:55.
So by 10 o'clock onwards, if we do not get any play, then overs will start to reduce from that point in time onwards. 1 hour. After that, every 4 minutes, you're going to see an 1 over deduction. So that is the current situation at this point in time. RCB are 93 for 4 in 15.2 overs. Virat Kohli with 31 of 30. Du Plessis was just marching along at 39 of less than a strike rate of 130. And that is the kind of situation that we are looking at. What is this kind of wicket? Are you okay with 200 plus being chased, or do you want this kind of a wicket? That is the one thing that you have to answer. What do you think this is a really poor cricket wicket for the IPL?
See, if you look at the prism of IPL being slam bang cricket and there to be only high scoring games, of course you'd go ahead and call this wicket a poor wicket. But I, on the contrary, would say that this is a challenging wicket. Just because the runs aren't coming in easy doesn't make the wicket poor, I believe. These conditions are rare, let's say. Not all surfaces that you're playing on offer the kind of variation and the kind of slowness also, I would say, that this pitch does. But that doesn't make the wicket poor, in my opinion.
And you have to understand one more thing, that RCB, whenever they have been encountered with spin, they have always struggled. I mean, this was the criticism that we had when Virat Kohli was batting against the same bowling lineup at the Chinnaswamy Stadium.
Yeah.
What was the basic thing? He slowed down against the spinners. Today, he struggled for even basic timing on this wicket. Because see, Stoinis, he was bowling cutters. It gripped on the wicket. Outside edge used to go over cover, which meant timing was a big issue. 31 of 30, first time.
See, Devin, I think, I do remember the first over. I think Krunal bowled the first over.
Yes.
Right? And there was a thick leading edge in the very first over as well. I think the first one went for a boundary. The other time, I think he got lucky. So clearly, initially, I don't think Virat was expecting the kind of grip that Krunal Pandya got in the first over. I think he was taken by surprise, I think, over there. I think for that matter, I would think we all were taken a bit by surprise to see the amount of grip we saw in the first over. And that meant that it was always going to be a challenging wicket. Having said that, I think the RCB openers in this batting order, as we've seen so far in the tournament as well, can still hold their head high, because they still did a decent job today. Remember, we were talking at the pre-match stage as well, that this wasn't going to be a wicket where you will see even the best of batters operate at a strike rate of 140, 150. You'd be content with batters operating at about 120, 130, which then makes it just the kind of track that Virat Kohli would have liked to play on.
But he didn't play on. And see, that is the thing. For the first time, he got dismissed by Ravi Bishnoi in his entire IPL career. Bishnoi, he's been there in the scene for 3 to 4 years. But unfortunately, today, May 1, 2023, was the first time Ravi Bishnoi had dismissed Virat Kohli. And it is a broader problem of RCB trying to tackle spin. Look at the extremes. Kohli trying to ensure that he gets a good iron and then accelerates. But look at Maxwell. Yet again, another poor shot. There was no need. You knew this was the kind of wicket that did not deserve that kind of shot. Reverse sweep. And that's how he got ribbed before. Yeah.
And a review wasted.
Not wasted, because it was umpire's call.
Oh, yes.
He was ribbed before wicket. How corny can that be? That he was ribbed before wicket in that particular wicket. horrendous shot selection, and yet again, when it comes to spin and Glenn Maxwell, I think this batting lineup is not K, G, F. It is only K and F. That's it. There is no Glenn. Because Glenn Maxwell, unfortunately...
I disagree. I think... See, yes, of course, the biggest criticism of Glenn Maxwell over the years has been that he does tend to give his wicket away. And that doesn't have to
to give his wicket away.
And that doesn't just have to do with the way that he is playing at RCB right now. I think we have over the years, you know, here at the IPL, let's forget what he does at, in the BBL and other places that other leagues that he plays in. Think we are used to seeing him blow hot and cold. Right now, he's blowing a little more cold than hot. But he has again provided these glimpses in this particular edition as well. But given the gains that you have when you play an on song or have an on song Glenn Maxwell in your side, I think that's far bigger than him. I think as a franchise, you just make peace that there are going to be these occasions as well that he's going to give his wicket away, but he plays that higher risk game.
RCB might probably be fans of roller coaster rides, because you've gotten someone like Maxwell who can blow hot and cold. Most of the time he blows cold, unfortunately. So that is the unfortunate thing that they have.
But then last year as well, the way he ended the tournament, rather he was one of the better batters for RCB last year, and you finally thought that he was living up to the billing that he sort of comes to every year that he comes to the IPL with. And I would say that he has carried his form from last year into this season as well. And I think RCB fans could also probably somewhere agree. They would be distraught with the way that he ends up giving away his wicket. And that is going to be his criticism in the IPL always.
Always. And Lucknow spinners have bowled very, very well indeed. And that is the reason why they are in this position where they can restrict RCB to 120, 130 provided the rain stays away. But there was one particular incident that happened in the third over. KL Rahul. This is the current situation. So KL Rahul, near the boundary, he unfortunately suffered an injury. The stretcher came out. He tried to walk, but he was hobbling. He was clearly uncomfortable, and he was very frustrated. This injury could not have come at an even worse time, because remember, it is May. Within the next 1 month, and 6 days later,
you'll be playing at the Oval, and in all likelihood, KL Rahul will be batting at number 5. We know that.
Now, supposing we haven't gotten an official update yet on what is KL Rahul's injury. When he was injured and off the field, it was Krunal Pandya who was captaining the Lucknow Super Giants. But if KL Rahul, if the worst turns out to be true, then who is your number 5? Again, just before a major ICC event, you have had an injury. And for KL Rahul, man, I mean, what can you say? What can you say about KL Rahul's situation? Because anyway, I had not put him as my starter. I had not put him as a starting point for the WTC final, because this was your batting lineup. It was going to be Rohit, Shubman, Pujara, Virat. Jinx. Most likely it'll be Jinx. And then it'll be Shrikar Bharat.
No, but then KL and then Shrikar you were looking at.
I don't think so. Because KL Rahul, with his fitness, I think he cannot keep in a 5-day game. I mean, that's...
So anyway, the designated wicket keeper that India have announced, or the BCCI have announced, is Shrikar Bharat only. They've not, added wicket keeper, or those WK abbreviation isn't there in front of his name.
It's not there. So anyway, KL would have been a doubtful starter for the World Test Championship final, looking at the team combination. But imagine, this guy had just come out of injury. He missed June, July, August, half of it. Then he came back. He was really struggling for rhythm, batting rhythm. Yet there were a lot of trolls who were unrealistically pouring out all that hatred for I mean, you may say KL Rahul, stating that, oh, he's batting too slow, he's not doing well, he's not having impact. That's the major problem. But KL Rahul himself admitted in that press conference, it's very difficult to come back because of the nature of injuries that he's had. Everybody's body copes up in a very different way. Now, he was just about trying to get back into the groove, because remember, this 2023 IPL has not been unlike previous IPLs. He struggled in this IPL. But now with this injury, I think it is going to be a big issue. And if KL Rahul has that injury, he doesn't make it to the WTC final.
By the way, speaking of his injury, it does look like something grave to me, because it wasn't just the hamstring to begin with. He was holding his upper thigh as well, so it could be a quadricep injury as well.
Yes.
And if that's the case, then he could be on the sidelines for a much longer period then.
At least for 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That is the normal recovery. If it's a quadricep tear, then it's going to be a lot longer. And the way how KL Rahul was hobbling and the way his frustration was evident, I think we are fearing the worst for KL Rahul, unfortunately.
We still await an official word from the management, from the Lucknow Super Giants. And who knows if the BCCI also will be, monitoring the situation as well, because you are planning for the World Test Championship final as well. It's been hard luck for India at big tournaments. There's been too many injuries going into these big tournaments. And if, let's say, the worst is going to happen, then India and the selectors will have to put on the thinking cap again and be looking at other alternatives if KL Rahul is not available for the World Test Championship final.
And more covers are coming on. The rain has gotten heavier in Lucknow. I think we are in for a significant delay, because remember, in Western UP it has been raining throughout the day today. It has been really big. I mean, it was consistent rain, and now the rain has even come to Lucknow. We were hoping that it would come after the game. We were almost 15 overs up in this, and as per the playing conditions, 1 hour later, if the rain does not relent, then we will start losing overs.
10 p.m. 10 p.m. is the cutoff time, I believe.
For overs to start reducing,
losing,
you can get a game until 11:50. But for a 5-over game to begin, play has to start by 11:10.
Yeah.
11:10 p.m. IST is the time when you can get a 5-over game in. But apart from that, it looks to be a very difficult situation at this
That'll be
point.
very harsh on RCB though.
I mean, but they actually had a very good power play start. So if you look at the DLS adjusted
But
method,
even then, so going into, I'm sure if DLS kicks in, because at the start of the match, and that's how it's calculated, because LSG will be the chasing team, knowing that okay, rain's played its part, but they'll have 10 wickets in hand. So I still think if it's a 5-over game, let's say, they'll have a very steep target to chase. They could be looking at somewhere around 65 odd runs to chase.
So after the end of 5 overs, if you look at what was RCB's situation, it was 37 for no loss.
Yeah.
So maybe if you look at it, they may have to chase a slightly higher total. 5 overs, maybe 45 or 50 in that sense.
Absolutely. Because again, the way it works is it's calculated on the number of wickets that a team had at the very point when it started to rain, and then you take into account that as well. So that's how the DLS works. And
I mean, let us take some comments at this point in time. Aditya Kavlekar saying only rain can save RCB today. Maybe because see, they've got 2 spinners. They have got maybe 3. Maxwell if he chips in. You can say that maybe the likes of Karn Sharma, Vanindu Hasranga, they will be the key in this entire battle, because you've seen how the spinners, maybe if not, they may not want to get Harshal Patel in. Looking at the way how this wicket is, they might want to get Shahbaz in. Because Shahbaz is a left-arm spinner.
Even Krunal was getting a fair bit of turn, and that will only inspire LSG or rather RCB. I think it'll only tempt them to consider bringing in Shahbaz.
Yeah, maybe not Harshal Patel, maybe not Vishak, so that is why.
But then I think the outfield also will play a role now. Because if the ball gets much more wetter than you thought it would, then you'll be thinking.
You will be. So Sridhar Savaikar is like saying, not the ideal T20 pitch, absolutely not conducive to stroke play. Kind of agree.
I don't wholly agree with that, because you're expecting, let's say, bowlers to give you Yorkers in, let's say, when they're expected to save about 15 runs an over, or 15 runs right towards the death or in the final over. Why can't the batters be putting in performances on difficult tracks like this and giving you plenty of runs? Why do batters have to wait for a flat deck at the 1KD to post about 200 runs, or a flat deck at Mohali to give you 250 runs? Why can't you expect batters to have the, put the best game forward and give you a good competitive 180 over here at a track where 136 is what experts suggested would be
145-ish they had suggested, But Janaki Raman, that's a very good point that he has made, and we'll be discussing that, because see, today during the match, footage emerged of Jaidev Unadkat tumbling very badly on his follow-through, and he was clutching his shoulder. So that is one, and remember, Unadkat is in the World Test Championship. Plus, you got Umesh Yadav also, who's injured. Shardul Thakur is also not fully fit. So, KL Rahul, Umesh Yadav, Jaidev Unadkat, Shardul Thakur. 4 members in that ICC World Test Championship squad who are currently battling injuries. Now, this is where one feels like, what happened to all the talk of injury management, workload management? If you have to look at it, in Unadkat's case, it was an accident. I mean, he unfortunately tumbled on his follow-through. He wasn't playing that much of games also for Lucknow Super Giants. Hardly 2 or 3 games. KL as a batter, I don't think you need to look at too much into workload, because the more you bat, the better you become. Umesh has lacked rhythm. But his injury now has thrown some serious concerns, because remember, Umesh, if you consider him on that oval wicket, he could be pretty deadly. And Shardul Thakur hasn't bowled that much at all in IPL 2023.
Yeah. He's been decent with the bat, one would say. And barring those couple of knocks, he's not really contributed much. But again, with Shardul, he doesn't, come with any guarantees, let's say. He can put in those match-winning performances, or he could, just be there.
I know. King D, should they consider Arshdeep for WTC final?
Rushing him
rushing him in yet again. I mean, see, this is where the IPL conundrum is really, really posing a problem for India's ICC aspirations. Ideally, if you look at it in batches, supposing their teams get knocked out before the knockout stages in 21st May, that players who were selected by WTC squad, they should go to England.
And if I'm not wrong, in during that Australia series, which happened right before the IPL, I think Rohit Sharma had made it very clear that the players will be leaving in a phased manner. So you will be seeing players representing teams that probably would be out by the 21st, 22nd of May. They could probably start then leaving for London, which is where your World Test Championship final will take place. And of course, as and when teams get knocked out and players are available, you will probably see them taking the flight to London.
So one major update, a very good update, hearing that play is going to resume at 21:15, which is in the next 6 minutes.
Lovely.
That means no overs lost. But that means we all get to have another extended session like how we had yesterday, when the over rates were so abominable.
Quarter to 12, if I'm not wrong, the match ended.
4 hours and 15 minutes. That was how it is. Can they consider Bhuvi, Ehsan Habib is saying?
They could be forced to. They could be forced to.
Barring one game, I think Bhuvi's not set the stage on fire. And again, Aditya Kavlekar, Natarajan, with the injury that he's had and with the way how he's bowling, yes, he's nailing the Yorkers, but it will be a left field selection if that happens. So that is why it is going to be a major problem. Arshdeep and you may say Natarajan, not much of game time. That is the only problem that we are seeing at this point.
Just then, paradrop them in the World Test Championship final. Again, you can do that with Rahane because he comes in with experience, but not with the others, with the other two.
Maybe you'll have to call in a replacement. That is the only thing, a fresh replacement who's playing county at this point. Although Arshdeep is playing county.
He did play, I think. Did he?
I think he's going to play this season. And once Jain's got KL injured, get Yashasvi. Nahin, yaar, even Yashasvi. Well, okay, he did well in the Irani. He did well this, but then para-dropping a youngster into the cauldron of a World Test Championship final, it's too much pressure. I mean, you would want to perform, but then where is the spot for Yashasvi Jaiswal? He's not a number 5. He's not a number 6.
No, Yashasvi can't be.
Can't. You're going to see Ajinkya Rahane, which means that Rahane's spot is more or less assured if KL Rahul cannot make it to the World Test Championship final. Anyway, I hadn't picked KL Rahul in that playing 11 because of maybe Rahane, his experience in England, his experience in past tours, although it was pretty poor, but still he's got experience. So that is the thing. And so that is why play will begin in the next 3 minutes and it will be resuming from 15.2. No overs lost. And hopefully we pray that the rain stays away from Lucknow. We don't want more delays. Already I think we've had a 20-minute delay, 20 to 23-minute delay. But that means you have to wait another 37 minutes for overs to start reducing. So that is why big talking points during the mid-innings. We'll be back very shortly for that. So subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. Tap that bell icon so that you know when we go live. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. From me and Harshad, we'll join you very shortly indeed. Bye-bye.